In professional sports, influence is not always measured by fame or headlines. Sometimes it is measured by quiet decisions made behind closed doors, by systems designed on whiteboards, and by moments that change the direction of entire franchises. This documentary explores the journey of Joe Brady, a figure whose career has moved between rapid success, intense scrutiny, and renewed relevance, and why his name has once again become a major point of discussion across media, fans, and analysts. This documentary will trace the full arc of Joe Brady's life and career, from early background and education to his entry into the professional world, his rise into national attention, the challenges that followed, and the recent developments that have pushed him back into the spotlight. It will examine not only what he has accomplished, but why his work continues to matter in the evolving landscape of modern football. Joe Brady was shaped by a background that valued structure, discipline, and observation. From an early age, he showed a strong interest in how games worked rather than just how they were played. While others focused on physical performance, he was drawn to patterns, strategies, and decision-making. This analytical mindset became a defining feature of his career long before it gained public attention. Growing up, Joe Brady was exposed to football culture in a way that emphasized preparation and learning. Film study, play design, and understanding opponents were not abstract ideas to him. They were practical tools. This early exposure built a foundation that later allowed him to adapt quickly as the game evolved at higher levels. His education further reinforced these tendencies. During his academic years, Joe Brady balanced formal study with an increasing commitment to football analysis. He showed a particular interest in offensive systems and quarterback development, focusing on how structure and timing could elevate individual talent. Rather than relying on tradition, he questioned why systems worked and how they could be improved. The beginning of Joe Brady's professional career was defined by patience and observation. He did not enter the spotlight immediately. Instead, he worked in supporting roles, learning from experienced coaches and absorbing the realities of high-level competition. These early positions allowed him to see both success and failure up close, without being responsible for final outcomes. Over time, his attention to detail began to stand out. He demonstrated an ability to communicate complex ideas in simple terms, particularly to players in demanding positions. This skill earned him increased responsibility and trust within coaching staffs. Gradually, his role expanded from support to direct influence. The rise of Joe Brady into broader recognition came quickly once he was placed in positions of creative control. His offensive approach emphasized spacing, tempo, and adaptability. Rather than forcing players into rigid systems, he designed systems around player strengths. This philosophy produced immediate results and attracted attention from across the league. As visibility increased, so did expectations. Joe Brady became associated with innovation and modern thinking. Analysts began to study his concepts, and younger coaches cited his methods as examples of how football was changing. His name became linked with progress and the future of offensive strategy. Major achievements followed during this period. Teams under his influence showed measurable improvement in efficiency, scoring balance, and situational execution. Quarterbacks benefited from clearer reads and simplified decision-making. Receivers found more space. The offense as a whole appeared more synchronized. However, rapid success also brought challenges. As responsibilities grew, so did scrutiny. When results did not match expectations, criticism intensified. In professional sports, innovation is often praised when it works and questioned when it does not. Joe Brady experienced this shift firsthand. Struggles emerged during periods of transition. Changes in personnel, organizational instability, and competing philosophies tested his adaptability. Some systems that worked in one environment did not translate seamlessly into another. These moments led to public debates about whether his success was situational or sustainable. There were setbacks that forced him to reevaluate his approach. These were not merely professional obstacles, but defining moments that shaped his development. Instead of withdrawing, he adjusted. He refined his methods, focused on communication, and reassessed how his ideas fit within larger organizational structures. Now, the focus turns to the most important questions surrounding Joe Brady today. Why is he trending right now? The current surge in attention surrounding Joe Brady began following a recent sequence of high-visibility performances linked to his involvement with a team undergoing transformation. Analysts and fans noticed a clear shift in offensive execution, particularly in how young players were being utilized and developed. Statistical improvements were accompanied by visible changes in play design, tempo, and situational decision-making. This trend gained momentum after media breakdowns highlighted these changes. Analysts began comparing current performance data with previous seasons, pointing out improvements in efficiency, red zone execution, and third down success. These comparisons fueled online discussions, video breakdowns, and opinion pieces across sports media platforms. What made this trend accelerate was timing. The improvements came during a period when expectations were low and skepticism was high. This contrast amplified the narrative. When success appears unexpectedly, it attracts attention. Joe Brady became central to this narrative as commentators credited his influence for the visible turnaround. Social media played a significant role in spreading the discussion. Short clips of play designs, quarterback progressions, and sideline communications circulated widely. Fans began debating whether Joe Brady had been misunderstood in earlier stages of his career. Former critics revisited past evaluations, while supporters argued that context had always mattered. The trend intensified further after interviews and press coverage subtly shifted tone. Instead of questioning his methods, media outlets began asking what had changed and what lessons had been learned. This reframing suggested growth rather than redemption, positioning Joe Brady as a coach who had evolved rather than simply rebounded. Other factors driving the trend was the broader league context. As teams increasingly seek adaptable, analytically minded leadership, Joe Brady's profile fits a growing demand. His recent work aligned with emerging priorities across the sport, making his success feel relevant beyond a single team. People are talking about Joe Brady now because his current results directly challenge earlier narratives. Instead of potential alone, there is evidence of adjustment and maturity. This matters because professional sports value not only innovation, but resilience. The ability to learn from failure often defines long-term careers. This trending moment matters in the larger context of Joe Brady's career because it represents a turning point. It suggests that early success was not accidental and that later struggles were part of a learning curve rather than a ceiling. It reframes his professional identity from rising star to experienced strategist. Public and media reactions reflect this shift. Commentary has become more measured, focusing on process rather than hype. Analysts emphasize sustainability and adaptability. Fans express cautious optimism, recognizing improvement without assuming inevitability. Currently, Joe Brady occupies a position of renewed credibility. His future possibilities include continued influence within offensive development and potential leadership roles if results remain consistent. What stands out is not speculation, but stability. The long-term legacy of Joe Brady will likely center on his contribution to modern offensive thinking and his example of professional growth. His career illustrates how early success, public setbacks, and later adaptation can coexist within a single narrative. In the end, the story of Joe Brady is not about instant greatness or permanent failure. It is about evolution within a demanding system. It is about learning under pressure and applying those lessons when it matters most.
If you want more in-depth documentaries that break down careers beyond the headlines, subscribe to the channel and stay with us for the next story.